Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar, Tips to Get More Out of Xero. My name is Gracie and I'm part of the education team here at Xero. It is Education Month at Xero and we have a range of content available for the whole month of November and even into December. There's lots of valuable content to choose from, so make sure you check out some of the other webinars. My colleague Anjanika will post a link to the Education Month webpage in the chat box now. I'm here today to share some tips and tricks for those of you who have the basics of running your business day to day on Xero down, but want to get more out of it. Maybe you're comfortable with bank reconciliation now and sending your customers invoices, but you didn't just sign up to use Xero to do the tasks you were already doing. While Xero is here to help with those tasks, we're also here to create efficiencies and give you time back to do what you love. If you're curious and want to start self-serving more to see how your business is doing and pave a way forward, you're in the right place. We'll cover 5 key areas to give you that time back by streamlining some processes and helping you to get more insights from your Xero data. So those 5 areas are tracking categories, batch payments, the age receivable summary report, and both the short-term cash flow and business snapshot, which are both part of our analytics tool in Xero. You may have heard of some of these, but hopefully by the end of the session, you'll feel more confident to go away and use these features and tools. Let me start by introducing tracking categories to you, as they are a personal favourite of mine. Track different areas of your business to see how profitable they are using this tool. It's a great way to add an extra dimension to your reporting so you can make proactive business decisions going forward. You can set up different tracking categories depending on your business, and I'll show you a few examples in just a moment. One thing to note is there can only be 2 active categories and up to 100 category options for each. The awesome thing about tracking categories is that they can be applied to many different transactions in areas of Xero, like when you're reconciling your bank account, even bank transfers, or when you're entering an invoice or bill, such as a fixed asset bill. And you can even filter reports, such as the profit and loss by them. You can customize the report to filter by a tracking option to see how a region is performing, for example. That way, we can see the income, expenses, and profitability for that region during a chosen period. You can even create budgets in Xero for your tracking options. Even better, the profit and loss report now also has a common formats panel where you can run different versions of the profit and loss report. It includes a compare option, which allows you to run a profit and loss that shows each tracking option side by side. So in this case, we can compare and contrast all the regions against each other to see which areas tracking well with their income and expenses, but also where we may want to focus our efforts on, and more on this soon. But to access tracking, we just head up to Accounting and Advanced. And over on the right-hand side, we just want to select tracking categories. And remember, we can add 2 tracking categories with up to 100 category options under each. Tracking by region is one great example of how to use tracking categories, as you can see here. And then the tracking options would reflect the different regions your business operates in. For example, North, South, East, and West. In this example, the business would be able to track revenue, expenses, and profitability by geographic location or region. Other examples are maybe to track sales, for example, online versus physical, or rental properties if you have property investments. But what about a business that operates in different regions, but also has different departments? Let's add a second tracking category for department. So I'll just pop that in the tracking name, department. And let's put in for our category options, retail, wholesale, and operations. Cool. And I'll go ahead and click save. So how do we assign these tracking categories and options on a day-to-day basis? Well, if we head to the dashboard and we will head into our bank reconciliation, we can assign when reconciling transactions such as this one for Jacaranda Maple Systems. So we've received a deposit and can assign the region to East Side, where we can see region, and the department to wholesale. And let's just finish reconciling this sale. So I'll pop in my customer name, so Jacaranda Maple Systems, and I'm going to choose my sales account code. And then I could just go ahead and reconcile the transaction. Now, I've also received a bill from Bayside Wholesale that needs to be assigned to the correct tracking category and option before it's paid. So let's head to Business, Bills to Pay. And once we're here, I'm just going to click into the Bayside Wholesale bill. Cool. And as you can see, currently there are no options chosen for our categories. So let's go ahead and edit the bill. So I'll go Bill Options, Edit. And for my region, again, I'm going to select East Side. For my department, I'm going to select Wholesale, and I can go ahead and update my bill. If I want to quickly see how my tracking categories are performing, then I could head to Accounting, Profit and Loss, and I could use the Common Formats panel that I mentioned earlier. And I could use Compare Region or Compare Department to see my tracking options side by side. So let me just show you the Compare Region so you can see what that looks like. Cool. So there you can see my different options within the region side by side to compare with. You can, of course, show all tracking categories and options in the one report if you want that more granular detail as well. But what if I want to see how the wholesale department in the East Side region is performing? I can run a profit and loss with these parameters. So I'll just reset my profit and loss there. Cool. I'm going to update my date range to year to date, and I'm going to use the compare tracking categories to select my wholesale department and my East Side region. And I can go ahead and apply that filter and update my report. So here we can see the two transactions we just assigned in our profit and loss. So that was the sale that we reconciled in the bank reconciliation and the bill we updated to include the tracking category options. So I'll save this as a custom report by going Save as Custom so that I can run it as often as I want without having to carry out the customization each time. So let me just add East Side Wholesale to the name, and I'll go ahead and click Save. So this is a region and department that has previously not been performing well that I want to keep an eye on. I can even favorite this report right from within the screen by selecting the star on the top right. So I can simply select my report from the accounting drop-down. So let me just refresh my page. Cool. And now if I go to my accounting drop-down, we can see our report sitting there to run anytime. So this will allow me to get faster insights going forward. Tracking categories will really help you to gain efficiencies in Xero and keep your chart of accounts manageable by remitting the need for department codes or cost centers. Okay, we don't have time to show you faster ways to get your bills into Xero today, but be sure to check out our upcoming webinar, Automate Data Entry with HubDoc and Xero. However, once your bills are in Xero, how do you then pay your bills? You're probably used to the traditional way of paying bills. So logging into your internet banking, paying bills one by one before moving the bill to the paid pile. This process is slow, monotonous, and prevents you from utilizing your time to spend on more valuable tasks. So let's say you have 10 bills to make payment on at the end of the month. Each bill might take you 5 minutes to pay online. You've got to get that amount, the payee details, fill out all the fields and make payment. 10 bills might take you nearly an hour, which is far from ideal. But thankfully, there is a more efficient alternative to help you get more out of Xero. With Xero, you can reduce admin time needed to pay your bills using the batch payment feature. Batch payments allow you to bundle multiple bills into the one payment file and then import that file into your bank. So let's head straight into Xero and see how batch payments work. So we will go to Business, Bills to Pay, and batch payments lets you see the awaiting payment bills. So I'll click on that tab that sit in Xero that you want to pay and set the payment details in one go. So I actually want to filter by due date, and I'm going to choose all of my overdue bills to pay. Cool, so I can select Make Payment, and here I will just select Batch Payment and Continue. If the supplier details are saved to their contact record, this information will pull through automatically. All you need to do is choose the date you want the bank to pay. So let's say the 20th of the month, the bank account you want to pay from, so the business bank account, and any details you want to appear on your bank statement, such as November payment. You can also add the bank account details from the batch payment screen if they aren't yet set up for a supplier. And those details will automatically be saved to that contact once the batch payment is made. This just makes the process more streamlined, so you don't have to exit and go to the supplier contact in Xero to add the bank account. You can also add details to appear on the supplier's bank statement. Then we're ready to make payments and export the batch file and import the file once logged into online banking. The payment can then be authorized. If a connection with your bank is supported, the payment file will be sent directly to your bank without needing to export it, and you would just authorize the payment. So maybe 5 minutes for all 10 bills, but not 5 minutes each. So much easier. And not to mention the efficiencies gained in reconciling a batch payment versus individual bill payments. Next, it's worth talking about the Aged Receivables Summary Report, which you can use to see who owes you money, how much they owe, and how long it's been overdue for. So an already very useful report that will help you quickly gauge the status of your debtors. However, just like customizing the profit and loss for tracking, as we looked at before, you can make the aged receivables summary even more useful with a little customization. Let's see what we can do to help you get more out of this report and faster. To run this report in Xero, let's head to our report center. So we'll go to Accounting, Reports, and down under the Payables and Receivables section, we just want to select the Aged Receivables Summary Report on the left-hand side there. And as I mentioned, it is already a very useful report, but there are a number of changes you can make, such as adding a few extra columns, such as email, mobile, phone, and primary person, and updating the report. Cool. So now your report also shows your customer's contact details, which makes it really easy to pick up the phone if need be and check in with a customer if their payment is a month or more overdue. If the customer requires more information on their amount owing, you can just click into a figure on the report. So I notice here on our report that there seem to be several invoices for city limousine, but I'm not quite sure how many. So I can hold down my command or your control, click on the blue link, the blue total link, and that will open a breakdown of the invoices in a new tab for me. So now I can see there are 4 invoices that are making up that total. So you really have everything you need on the report to aid you getting paid faster and streamlining debtor management. There is no need to have a little book on hand with customer phone numbers to refer to. So let me close that tab. You can customize this report to give more insights by maybe clicking on Filter. For example, if you wanted to create aged receivable summary reports by tracking categories and options, like our East Side and Wholesale, to see if there are lots of overdue invoices, and hence part of the reason this region and department hasn't been performing well. You'll see down the left-hand side, again, we have a common formats panel with some helpful related reports if you wanted to quickly drill down further into perhaps the customer invoice activity. This aged receivable summary report with the contact details is definitely one to save as custom and favourite for easy access in the accounting menu. So you can give customers who need a nudge a call and hopefully receive payment earlier than you might otherwise. Xero has an analytics tool available in 2 versions. Xero Analytics, which is included in any business edition plan, and Analytics Plus, which is a paid add-on for more in-depth insights. Both versions include the short-term cash flow and business snapshot, and I'm going to show you the Analytics version today. So starting with an exciting feature, the short-term cash flow. So you can find Analytics here under the business drop-down, and I'm going to head into the short-term cash flow. It's a dashboard-style tool designed to help you view and manage your cash flow better. The short-term cash flow tool in Analytics can help you project your business cash flow for the next 7 or 30 days, giving you an up-to-date view of your cash flow in an instant. You can even see your cash projection breakdown. So you could be doing this by day, week, or by invoices and bills within the time frame that you select. The projection is calculated entirely on the Xero balance of your selected bank accounts and the upcoming bills and invoices that are entered into Xero. So one tip with this tool is that the information is more accurate when your bank reconciliation is up to date, which will give you a more realistic view of your operations. Another tip, if you need to update dates on any overdue invoices and bills, there is an Update Overdue button on the top right here. You can update individual or bulk invoices and bills. By updating expected or planned dates on your invoices and bills, you'll quickly see the impact of delaying paying a bill and know which invoices need to be followed up on again. So let's update our overdue invoices as we're now expecting them to be paid at the end of the month. So I'm going to bulk update these by selecting all and choosing a date at the top there. And watch what happens to our graph when I select update invoices. Cool, so the graph changed a little bit to reflect the fact that we're now expecting payment on the 30th of this month. This will help improve your insights and manage your cash flow more effectively. And if you want to access more insights, then you can upgrade to Analytics Plus. You can see there is a little blue button up there. With Analytics Plus, you can project your short-term cash flow up to 90 days in the future. You can also view your predicted recurring cash transactions, as well as recurring invoices and bills with the help from our AI. And you can add one-off amounts to the dashboard to determine the impact on cash flow. You'll be able to get a bigger picture and determine things like whether it's actually a good time to buy that new computer for the office. But you'll just be able to feel more confident when making those important business decisions. Have you ever wanted to view your organization's financial well-being in an instant and on one page? Well, look no further. The Business Snapshot tool, so going to Business Snapshot, gives you a range of easy-to-follow key performance measures to help you understand your organization's performance in real time. So once you have a couple of months' worth of transactions in Xero, the Business Snapshot will start to generate the financial metrics. All you'll need to do is ensure that you're regularly reconciling your bank transactions to ensure that these metrics are up to date. So let me just show you the profitability section here. So at the top, we can see the income, expenses, and profit or loss for the period. You can hover over the income and expenses line graphs to view the amounts at each point. And below these, there are some further efficiency insights on the margins, such as gross profit margin. It shows how much the business earns after deducting the costs associated with making its product or service and the largest accounts making up these costs. If certain costs are starting to add up, it might be time to start thinking of strategies to get these down as the business grows. Now, down the bottom here in the financial position and cash section, we have some metrics to help with assessing the financial position of the business. First, we have a summary of the balance sheet showing asset, liability, and equity amounts for the period. And next is an overall cash balance, which is the balance of all the bank accounts. And lastly, the average time to get paid and the average time to pay suppliers. The Business Snapshot shows trends over time, so you can evaluate how well your business is operating over the last month, quarter, financial year, or year to date. But taking this one step further, we can select the toggle right down the bottom of the page here to look at the business performance ratios. So we've got a whole bunch of financial ratios at the bottom there. And this is another great way to get some quick insights with an explanation of what makes up the calculations included if you just select the I, and that will show you how they're calculated. So the Business Snapshot really helps you understand your financial health and position all on one page without the need of running multiple reports. And if you want to take the insights one step further, the Plus version of the Business Snapshot lets you drill down to see a detailed breakdown of the numbers on the dashboard. You can also set custom date ranges so you can focus on whatever period you want. The Business Snapshot provides information to gain clear visibility, which you can use to make the necessary business decisions going forward. Well, those are my top 5 tips to get more out of Xero. I hope you've enjoyed them and learned something new so you can streamline a few more processes and gain more insight into your business. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this webinar. It has been a pleasure to have you with us today. You can see some upcoming sessions on the screen that we recommend you join to create a valuable learning journey for you, such as the Automate Data Entry with HubDoc and Xero I mentioned earlier. You can register for these and any other upcoming Education Month webinars by scanning the QR code on the screen, and Anjanika will also post the link again. We would love to see you at another session. Thank you so much for joining us today.